Hello and welcome to yet another episode on the Physiotherapy tutorial channel. In the 10 minutes tutorial series, today we are going to discuss more about the skeletal muscle and its type. Let's first look into the anatomy of the skeletal muscle from the point of view of the fascia. Now, skeletal muscle is surrounded by a layer of the connective tissue, that is a fascia, which is the connective tissue surrounding the outermost layer of the muscle, that is epimysium. Internally, a single individual muscle fibers also have a connective tissue layer surrounding it, which is called as the endomysium. And a layer of the connective tissue, that is a fascia covering the fasciculi, that is the bundles of individual muscle fibers, are a perimysium layer. All these epimysium, endomysium and perimysium is a connective tissue, that is a fascia, which helps the muscle and its individual fibers to move, that is glide and slide against each other smoothly. Now, this biomechanical function of the individual muscle fibers or fasciculi or a group of the bundles to glide and slide properly is affected basically whenever muscle and its fascia are anatomically and physiologically affected when the muscle is fatigued, inflamed or injured. So whenever any muscle is fatigued, inflamed or injured, the muscle is shortened and it resists any kind of stretching, and same happens to that of the fascia. In fact, the damage to the fascia creates additional problems. An inflamed fascia may adhere to the other nearby fascia, which makes the muscle movements difficult or impossible. There is a formation of the scar tissue and the lack of the mobility can sometimes become permanent. This is one of the major source of chronic soft tissue dysfunction and the pain, which is most commonly seen in clinical setups, suffering in the orthopedic or musculoskeletal cases, or more commonly seen in the sports athletes. A muscle fibers is composed of the small structure, that is muscle fibrils, or it is sometimes called as the myofibrils. These fibers lies in parallel and gives a muscle cell a striated appearance. Fibrils are made up of smaller, regularly aligned components, that is myofilaments, which are a chain of the protein molecules. This striated appearance to the muscle is attributed to the presence of two types of myofilaments, that is actin and myosin. Whenever the muscle contracts, the actin filaments move longitudinally between the myosin filament. As a consequence, the muscle shortens and becomes thickened. The connective tissue surrounding the muscle, that is the epimysium, extend its continuation with the tendon, which attach to that of the bones. The muscles of the body has various different shapes. Whenever a muscle contracts, it produces a force that affects the origin and insertion of the muscle equally but in opposite direction. A muscle and its fascia become shortened when the muscle is fatigued, inflamed or injured, which may create a static force on the tissues of both origin and insertion. So if the shortened muscle is forced to stretch, the muscle creates a warning pain and convey the stretching stress to the tendons of both origin and insertion. The consequence of this is you develop a tendinitis, which is the inflammation of the tendon. This condition can become more serious in athletes when medication is used to block or suppress the warning pain signals. The structure of the muscle exactly serves its function. For example, a strap-shaped muscle is found in places where it is necessary to execute large range of motion quickly. Multipinnet-shaped muscle can be found where movements over a small range but of great strength are required. To assess the effect of the muscle, the clinician must also know where it is attached in relation to that of the joint. The alignment of the force of a muscle is dependent also on its physiological cross section. The ability of the muscle to create a force to do a work depend upon two factors. First, the physiological cross section and its position in relation to that of the joint. The knowledge is very important in the treatment of muscular symptoms. Now let's look into what are the types of muscle contraction. So muscle does two types of work. First one is dynamic and second one is the static. In dynamic work, the origin and insertion of the muscle are affected by the change in the muscle length. If the muscular forces causes the origin and insertion to move towards each other, the muscle is shortened and contracted. The dynamic work is concentric. That means both origin and insertion sites are coming closer to each other. This is reverse in case of eccentric contraction. Muscle tries to shorten, but it is actually lengthened by the external forces where it tries to hold a movement in a joint. However, the length is same in form of the isometric work that is classified under the static. Now, whenever a muscle contracts, whether the contraction is concentric, eccentric, or isometric, the force generated must be graded to meet the needs of the activity. The amount of force produced depends upon the number and type of motor units activated. Also depends upon its frequency of stimulation of each motor units. The size of the muscle and muscle fiber length and the speed at which the contraction happens also classified under a production of the force.